Hi everyone! Welcome back to the channel for this very special episode of Infinite Hope because I'm finally back, yay! After being away from the computer and everything for the past couple of days because of Hurricane Delta knocking out my power, and I haven't had power for like 3 days. So it came back last night at 12:30, and I just want to take a moment to thank all the hardworking folk here at CFE, the Federal Electric Company of Mexico, that were out working hard to get power back to everybody, and I really appreciate that. And I also want to take a moment to thank all of you out there with all your wonderful comments yesterday. Just warmed my heart. All the comments that I read on my video that I had uploaded, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you so much. And let's get to some positive news, because I know I sure as heck could use some. It's been a crazy week. The news is always negative, so we could all use some hopeful and inspiring news, and that's what I'm here to do. And before I get to it though, please hit that like and subscribe button if you like what I'm doing here, and let's get to it. Okay, so we have this article today from the Greek Reporter. Writes, Greek athlete carries disabled woman on his back to the top of Mount Olympus. My goodness. Aw, isn't that so sweet? Long distance runner Marios Yanako completed the race of his life on Monday as he climbed to the summit of Mount Olympus carrying the disabled Eleftheria Tosio on his back. There is nothing more real than the dream, Yanako wrote on Instagram as he reached Mytikas, the peak of Mount of the Gods, at 9:02 local time. And here's the picture that they have. Wow, that is quite inspiring. I mean, I can't even do a basic trail, so alone. That's really embarrassing. But yeah, so that's really cool. I love that. The article continues. Tosio is a 22-year-old and is a student of biology in Thessaloniki. My goodness, these Greek words I have really difficult time with. Bear with me here. And I hope I'm pronouncing everybody's name right. The two met in September, and the young woman expressed to Yanako her desire to climb to the highest peak of Olympus, a route the runner had already completed 50 times successfully, but the 51st, he said, would be the most special for him. Of course, that's so sweet. My gosh. Just before the climb to the top, Yanako said, with Eleftheria, we will try to climb next week, early October, to the highest peak in Greece, carrying her on my back with specially modified backpack. For me, all international races, the medals, and the distinction so far mean little compared to that goal. Eleftheria was tied to a specially modified backpack that Yanako wore on his back throughout the climb, which took more than 10 hours. And yeah, so that's the article. I'll link everything down below. You guys can read the rest for yourself to see how amazing the climb was. It's super special. I love these kind of stories because it really shows the human heart and what we're capable of physically and mentally, and just, with our hearts, with our love, what we can achieve. That is so cool. Good for him. He's special, and so is she. That's awesome. Okay, so for this next story, we have the kindness of strangers. 3 young men changed flat tire in the rain past midnight for mom stranded on SLE. My goodness, that is crazy. That's happened to me before. I've been stranded by the road and, with a flat tire, and I didn't know how to change it, and somebody helped me. So I feel this. This is close to my heart. I definitely feel this one. This actually comes to us from Singapore. So there's got a couple of spelling mistakes here and there, but that's okay. We know what they meant. In a heartwarming story, 3 young men proved to a stranded mom and her son that the kindness of strangers can truly be depended on. Wai Peng Lo took to Facebook on September 27 to write about an incident that started by making her angry and then ended up being heartwarming after all. due to three young men who changed her tire in the pouring rain. Not only that, they were also helping other motorists in the same situation. Her photo of the inspiring trio walking away into the very wet night has since been shared over 2,500, I'm guessing they mean times. And this is, I'm guessing, the photo, which is really cool. Good for these guys. That's awesome. The article continues to read, Miss Wei had been on her way home with her young son on the SLE 11:30 in the evening when her tire gave out. Since she didn't know how to change it and her husband wasn't with her, she called for a tow truck, as any of us would. Unfortunately, her conversation with her insurer only made her angry. I called the insurer hotline, and after taking down my car plate number, the lady told me she would call me back, and 20 minutes passed and nothing happened. I called back, and the same lady told me that she couldn't find my renewed insurance policy as their system was down. She then went on to ask me if I could remember my insurance policy number for her to process further. I was speechless. I mean, who on earth would remember policy numbers? She then went on to explain the claim process if I didn't have the policy, etc., etc. My goodness, can you imagine? Like, yeah, who on earth remembers policy numbers unless you have like a photographic memory or something like that? That's crazy. Miss Pai's son started crying after this. I would probably be doing the same thing, as he thought they would be stuck in a flood and not be able to get home. At that point, his mom had already raised her voice at the insurer, saying she would pay first and asking for the tow truck to be arranged for the vehicle. Fortunately, this was when the three young heroes came in, just as Miss Pai comforted her worried son. This is where the heartwarming part begins. One of them knocks on my car door, asked if I am getting help, and offered to help if I had a spare tire in the car. Turns out that their car, along with a few others along that stretch, had their tires busted as well. The young men must have realized that the others who were stranded on SLE also needed help, and so after they fixed their car, they went to assist others. Aw, that's so sweet. At this point, the rain was falling heavily and the young men were really wet. Miss Pai kindly thought about just sending them home, but as the insurer had failed to call her back, she gratefully said yes and to the offer of help. The young men sent Miss Pai back into her car to be with her son, who was still a little traumatized, and were able to change the tire within 10 minutes. After reminding her to drive slowly, the young men left. Miss Pai wrote that she had been unable to get their names, but did get a picture of them walking away. I shook their hands and thanked each of them before we parted. I was so relieved when my boy and I could finally continue on our way. She added that she hoped that they would see her post so that she could thank them again. If they do see this message, I just want to again say thank you so much for going out of your way to help us. You have been blessed with kind hearts, and I wish the three of you well and happy. That night, I told my boy to be thankful for what we experienced, and I know that in the future, whenever I'm educating my boy about kindness, he will be reminded of the three Gorgor in the rain. Now, I don't know what Gorgor means, but probably something good in their language, like hero or something like that. That is really cool. People commenting on Miss Pai's much shared posts said there had been a pothole that caused flat tires to their vehicles as well, and posted photos of proof. Like this person, Nick Roselli, says that the pothole were caught by it too. Oh my goodness. And so is this person saying the same thing about sharing the same picture or a picture of their tire. You know what? I freaking hate potholes. Like they've definitely done some damage to my car as well, and it's just the worst. It is the absolute worst. I hate potholes. As while netizens were thankful for the kindness of the three young men, others wanted Miss Pai to name the insurer who had been remiss in their duty that night. While she did not name the insurer, she wrote in a comment that she called the insurance office directly who confirmed that I was indeed covered. But when I separately called the emergency hotline just to check their records, again, they said that I wasn't covered. My goodness. I mean, insurance companies are all the same, but you know what? Good for her that she didn't focus on the negative and didn't like name names, and instead focus on the positive and, took a picture of these young men that were really helpful and shared her positive story with the world, because that's more important, right? At the end of the day, it's more important about what the universe sends you, and these guys, kudos. That's awesome. What a great and uplifting story. Good for them. And I'm sure that they gave that little boy, it was a learning experience. It was a moment that I'm sure he will carry with him for a very long time, if not the rest of his life. So yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so for this next article we have from CNN, scientists create super enzyme that eats plastic bottles 6 times faster. Scientists have created a new super enzyme that breaks down plastic up to 6 times faster than their previous enzyme. A team of researchers that previously re-engineered a plastic-eating enzyme named PETase have now combined it with the second enzyme to speed up the process, according to a press release from the University of Portsmouth. The super enzyme could have major implications for recycling PET, which is the most common thermoplastic used in single-use drinks, bottles, carpets, and clothing. PET takes hundreds of years to degrade in the environment. PETase can break it down into its building blocks in a few days. John McGeehan, lead co-author and director of the Center of Enzyme Innovation at the University of Portsmouth, told CNN that this latest development represents a huge step towards using enzymes to recycle plastic and reduce plastic pollution. We were actually quite surprised it worked so well, said McGeehan, although he underlined that the process is still way too slow to be commercially viable. He told CNN that researchers have received funding to carry out further experiments, and successful developments could mean existing PET could be recycled instead of using fossil fuels to create new plastic. We're looking at a huge energy savings, said McGeehan. So that's cool. Recycling is great. I've always been a big fan of recycling and saving the planet. So I'm going to link the article down below so you guys can read about how it works and all that kind of stuff, which is fascinating stuff. It's good to know that, the planet is, scientists are working on saving the planet and, doing some good things. And that's it for that story, which is awesome. And that's it for this week's episode of Infinite Hope. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing here. And also don't forget to @me on Twitter, Nina7Infinity, with your positive and hopeful stories you come across during the week. And I'll feature them in the next week's episode. And yeah, help me out finding some good stories. Thank you so much, you guys. And thank you for all your positive support and everything. You guys are the best. You rock. Take care, everybody. Bye.